Jeff Marshall with Leadership Reflection Paying It Forward, and I'm here with the future. My grandson Aiden and my granddaughter Taylor. And I'm here to talk about how to free your mind from the evil controlling influence of the mermaid with her burnt coffee. What? Oh, you're right. We're here to talk about the future and resilience in organization. So we'll take up again in a few minutes, but this is the future and this is what I am concerned about. So thank you very much. Hi, this is Jeff Marshall picking it off where I left off with the Tree of Life, and here you see my wife and I on a prior trip to the animal kingdom with the Tree of Life. I think the tree is a tremendous symbol, and here you see two incarnations of it. One is the Celtic Tree of Life, showing the interconnectivity of everything with the branches and the roots all coming together into an integrated knotwork. The second is the yew tree, which tends to live for hundreds of years and takes pretty much what Mother Nature throws at it, lightning strikes, disease, and figures out a way to transform, adapt, and survive. To me, it's a great symbol of resilience. And then finally, you see the Circle of Life from The Lion King, which is an important movie to me. And here they're presenting the next generation. And the next generation is really what I want to be able to hone in on. I like to use Man Gulch as kind of an initial kickoff to this. I think Carl White got a lot right, but he got one key thing wrong with it. He focused down on that team level, and he missed the fact that it was an institutional failure that caused the organizational failure. The institution had limited situational awareness. Their tactics, techniques, and procedures for firefighting were not the right ones for smoke jumpers going behind the lines of a fire. And it just deployed a bunch of individual smoke fighters that weren't a cohesive team. Therefore, when the crisis really hit and Wag Dodge gave the order to drop your tools and lie down into the backfire that he lit, it made no sense to them. The organization broke down and collapsed. But it wasn't their fault, I don't think. It was the Forestry Service as an institution that failed. So let's focus on that institutional failure discussion. And I think today we see the same thing. If you think back to those knolls of Man Gulch, the left and the right on the political spectrum, man, they're all on fire. And they are engaging in an incredible bonfire of sense-making and then propagating that down into the civilians with just tremendous bombardments of sense-giving that almost overwhelm the ability of individual systems to engage in their own sense-making and truly understand and make decisions on what's happening now. The memes are overwhelming the facts, in my opinion. And two institutions, I think, have broken down and are not serving the Republic and the citizens the way they should. And that's the media, who does not provide factual-based information. Just about everything is editorially biased. And the educational institution, which frankly is not teaching our history effectively and is not teaching critical thinking. And therefore our citizens are more easily manipulated than I think they should be. Now, White made some good points with team resilience. And I think it's important that what he was addressing, I think, was team. And looking at improvisation, virtual role systems, the attitude of wisdom, and interaction. I think we can step that up to the institutional level and look at innovation and vision, leadership and governance, critical thinking, civil engagement, and debate. And that's what I think makes the institution resilient and survivable. And so if we think about vision, critical thinking, and civility, on the vision and value side, we need to know where we're headed, why we're headed there, and how we do it. And that's the vision and the innovation. And then we have to have our core set of values. We have to understand what's the fiber of our being. Because as we looked at the quote from Nietzsche, if you fight monsters long enough, you're in danger of becoming one. That's why you need to know what those core values are, so that as you are engaging in innovation and transformation, you don't change something that's critically important because you don't understand it. and you don't wake up one day and wonder who you are. On the critical thinking side of the house, wisdom, intuition, and conscious thought driving innovation. And we have to constantly challenge our assumptions, biases, and preconceptions and understand how they shape and influence our thinking and our decision making. On the civility side, we have to argue the issue and not the person. We can't engage in all these ad hominem attacks that seem to be the standard course of argument in today's environment. We have to have polite and meaningful discourse where we can talk to one another on a reasonable basis and see and understand the other side. I belong to a dinner group, and it's almost getting to the point where we can't have dinner anymore because nobody wants to see and understand the other side, and things just break down. It just cannot be the norm that we want in our society. So what I'd like to look at is a Center for Citizen Resilience, taking a look at that institutional resiliency model, making sure the citizens understand that they are the owners of the republic. Congressmen aren't, the president isn't, state legislators aren't, the citizens are, and they are responsible for electing people who understand this concept of citizen resilience and citizen ownership. That they're not throwing that bonfire at the citizens, but are engaging in that meaningful civil dialogue and critical thinking. They've got to understand the roles of governance. What is it the Constitution says that the role of the Congress, the President, and the judiciary is? What do the state constitutions say in the same set of parlance? We have to understand history. Now, not all of our history is pristine. We have to accept that. We're the only country that was founded upon the principles of the Enlightenment. But we also had slavery at the same time, which was a tremendous dichotomy. But if we throw away the principles of the Enlightenment because we don't like that some of the people who espoused it owned slaves, I think we're throwing away the baby with the bathwater. We've got to take what makes sense and works and understand the things that we don't like and get them out of our system. And the Constitution does provide the means to do that through the rule of law, through a constitutional amendment process. That's why we've got to understand our core values and ensure that we are protecting them. And if we decide to change them, it is a very deliberate system using the checks and balances of our constitutional process to make those changes in core value and transformations. And that we engage in all of this in a civil discourse where we're looking at the issues and not attacking the people. So thank you very much. This is what I want to do going forward, and I'll be looking for any help I can get. It's Jeff Marshall back for the last installment on Paying It Forward, again with my granddaughter Taylor. Taylor, I'm going to ask you a quick question. What would you say is the most important thing in your future?
Well, I would say probably working hard and making sure that you're trying your best for every task.
Well, thank you, Taylor. And I think that goes hand in glove with the image that you see here. You know, we opened this with kind of a little bit of a joke about brand awareness, but that brand is compelling. People buy it even though it is very, very overpriced. I've watched people spend money for expensive coffee that they could get for free. And the same marketing techniques that they use to create that brand are effectively the same marketing techniques that our political left and right are using with this whole concept of powerful sensegiving that overrides our ability to do our own sense making. It's kind of like a puppet master pulling the strings. So how do we cut those puppet master strings so that Taylor can do what she said and do her best in every task that she goes after? Well, the key to that is knowledge. And the key to generating that knowledge, I think, is this whole concept of critical thinking. There's two archetypes
that drive that, and that's the jester, who in medieval courts was the only one who could really tell the truth to the king. He did it through humor, but he still did it. And that's kind of the conscious part of it that we talked about in the earlier segment. And then the hermit, which is the subconscious element. The key things that we've got to ask are, why are things happening? Cui bono, who benefits? Sine qua non, what is the essential component? Aurelia Metacratus, what is the golden mean? And caritas paribus, all other things being equal, what happens? And all that has to be balanced out by judgment, so that our innovation is balanced against our values, and we understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, and can answer these questions, and understand the underlying assumptions, facts, biases, and preconceptions and emotions. The jester has to question those and force us to confront those, to think critically, so that we can cut through the puppet master's strings and understand the means that compel us with that powerful sense giving, so we can make our own sense making and can liberate ourselves from the means that compel. And Taylor can have the future she so richly deserves. Thank you, Taylor.